Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. The national interest is the latest one to take a pot shot at aircraft carriers. Are they obsolete? Are they the products of a bygone era? Well, the aircraft carrier as we know it really got its start in World War II. The United States, and indeed the entire world, had most of their military investments tied up in battleships. There was General Billy, I can't remember his name. He was a pioneer trying to say, hey, look, we can sink battleships using aircraft, and the risk to the aircraft is relatively minimal, and the aircraft carrier can stay way back and not get hit by the battleship's guns. But let's admit it, battleships have more sex appeal. When Admiral looks out, sees all those big guns, all those soldiers lined up on deck, you know what the Admiral wants. And in World War II, when the Japanese struck that stunning blow at Pearl Harbor, putting pretty much all of the US battleships out of commission, out of necessity, the US had to innovate. And they invented the Carrier Battle Group, where aircraft carriers would go out and hunter-killer missions, fulfilling almost the same role, except with different armaments. They stumbled their way into a new age. Now it's been 80 years since World War II, and we haven't really fought a near-peer adversary. Nobody has. And that's a blessing of World War II. For all the suffering, for all the chaos, for all the destruction, it's made everybody think twice before going to war. Because, first of all, it's ridiculously expensive. And secondly, if you lose, you lose everything. This is why Ukraine is a microcosm that everybody's watching right now. It's not really a near peer fight, but at the same token, it's showing us the lessons we should be learning. There's an old adage, generals are always trying to fight the last war. So they're seeing what's happening in Ukraine and trying to figure out what they can do to stop it. But back to, are aircraft carriers obsolete? Technically, yes. Now, the aircraft carriers, to the uninitiated, look like big, ungainly things that are, you know, dependent on their planes to do anything. Planes need fuel, planes need ammunition, and the aircraft carrier is pretty vulnerable. There's that Swedish submarine that 3 times managed to sneak past a carrier's defense network and surprise it, gaining a theoretical kill. What was that, 2013, I think it was? It was just a simple diesel electric submarine. So you can point to all that and say this shows that the aircraft carrier is obsolete. But it shows your fundamental lack of understanding about military tactics. First of all, an aircraft carrier is never alone. There's always fleet escorts, there's submarines, there's a whole flotilla aircraft carrier battle group that's just there to protect that carrier. That's its whole job. And they do that job very well. I mean, these days when you have Aegis guided missile destroyers that can shoot missiles out of the air, you got submarines that can fire anything from a classic torpedo to a nuclear tipped ICBM. The aircraft carrier is actually the fastest ship in the fleet. If it needs to go, it's going to go and leave everybody else to figure it out. But the most important the most important asset is the aircraft carrier itself, because it brings mobile and versatile firepower to wherever you need it. There's a supply chain to everything in life. We can build aircraft like the B-52, the B-2, the B-21, the B-1, the Russian Tu-95, stuff like that that can go halfway around the world and deliver ordnance to targets. But you know what? They're expensive, especially in any sort of numbers. So the aircraft carrier may be expensive, but it's designed to give a half century of work life, and it's going to carry all types of smaller aircraft that can go in and do all the jobs. With the current fleet of FA-18s, they can go in, drop bombs, turn around, and dogfight. The upcoming fleet of F-35s, they're doing the same. They can go in and bomb, hopefully not get detected, and then turn around and dogfight. Now, the cost of billions of dollars each, it's a substantial investment. But like I said, you're investing in this under the idea that it's not going out there alone. It might sit off the Sea of Japan for a little while, but they're moving constantly. They have their own paths, their own tricks that they use to fool satellites into looking the other way. They use to fool reconnaissance aircraft. They understand the name of the game. And if you can't find the darn thing, you can't shoot at it. That's one of the lessons that they learned in World War II very well. So, is the aircraft carrier obsolete? Yes, but only if you look at it in a certain way. If you appreciate it for its advantages, the aircraft carrier can be hell of a strength. You send in the Marines have their own attack carriers, which are smaller than the big aircraft carriers, but they can carry F-35s, helicopters, stuff like that. They're capable of maintaining air superiority for a little while, whereas an aircraft carrier can keep it up for days or weeks. So that's what we need to recognize. They're big, lumbering behemoths, but they're actually like swift ballerinas, very versatile, very agile, and their mission statement is a lot longer. You can just sit an aircraft carrier off a country's coast that's giving you trouble and just have the troops train. Oh, and that's the other thing people forget, the training of the sailors aboard an aircraft carrier of any nation, whether it's Russian, Chinese, US, or French. I think that's every with a carrier. No, I think Italy has one as well. Those people are training constantly. And the thing people don't realize about training exercises, they point to that incident back in 2013 or whatever where Sweden sank the aircraft carrier. The United States always gives an advantage to their enemy. They tell them where the aircraft is precisely. They shut down their airborne early warning radars. They give them all sorts of things because you don't learn as much from a victory as you do from a failure. I can tell you from being a soldier, when you get surprised in the middle of the night and everybody's waking up, you learn it's not a good idea to have stripped down to your underwear even though it's hot outside because it takes you longer to mobilize. And there your sergeant is, "What's wrong with you, Silverlight? Get going, get going. I don't have my pants on." So all sorts of things you realize from taking an ambush, taking a situation you weren't trained for, and reacting to it. So yes, the US does take a lot of losses, but they're on purpose so they can figure out how to do things better. Something they don't show on TV very much, but it's the absolute truth. The F-22s, every once in a while, an aircraft gets a kill on an F-22 in a dogfight. Yeah, it's carrying that mirror that reflects the radar waves back so that the other aircraft can get a lock on it. It's it's literally giving its advantage away because you learn more from defeat than you learn from winning. No one celebrates the win streak of the F-22. It's expected to win. Like the F-15 is expected to win. So you have to handicap them. Okay, nobody's allowed to go out with modern AMRAAMs. We're going to go out with Sparrows instead. And then you got to let them get a lock on the old-fashioned way. Okay, your cameras and your helmet are being turned off, so you can't just look over and shoot. You got to turn the whole airplane and shoot. That's the kind of thing that they like to do. They handicap themselves just so that they see how you react in the situation, and long term they figure out what's going on. So, despite their cost, their immense cost, $1 billion each is actually worth it. For one, shipyards are keeping vital employees in business. And yes, this is an excuse to have an industry for the sake of having an industry. But you know what would happen if we closed down the slipways that they make aircraft carriers on? It would be a huge loss of intelligence and engineering. When Canada shut down the Avro Aero, we lost so many engineers. We lost so much brain power that just went to the United States, and there was a huge appetite for their skills. That's how easy it is to lose a generation of engineers. One decision. In keeping the aircraft carriers, we're going to innovate. I might not see it in my lifetime, but there's going to be another class of aircraft carriers out there. And they're going to be the same thing. Oh, they're obsolete, but they get moved around to every single conflict. If they weren't effective, they would have been gotten rid of. And the fact is, they're still effective. So with that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please like, share, because sharing is caring. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And click the notification button so that way you can be notified of every time we upload a new video. We hope you have a fantastic